let me give you another introduction to the crow. As I meet the crow down the crow lane of Simi Valley, would you walk down with me a little bit and say, it's the crow? Those that I couldn't understand where my money goes is into education knows. Down the first lady, down the first lane of 118 and say, I was driving down to work every day at 5 in the morning. As those that many people are yawning down the lane of the crow peck and crow neck and down the chicken lane and chicken pane of 23 and then 23 lane. As I go down to Calabasas Road and I pack down Calabasas days. Somehow it didn't glaze the ways, didn't pace the days of my life. As I strive for better ways to understand the way of living in America, and as those that they didn't understand that I try to be a little frugal and frugal itself. They call me gangster, they call me banger, call me a hanger, call me in danger, but never call me educated things. Because the reign of those that I go through work and work of myself, and those are my education of more. I pay a lot through the years, and I pay a lot through the years of my licensing and my licensing of those of construction doors. As I knock on the doors of my clientele, and they say, Juan, do you want a cup of water where the water is not the crow? As I drove down the crow lane, because the crow lane where I come from is the crow lane of the 210. 210 and base heaven and base heaven, those base heaven that I can't understand more education than more education that I learn. Concerning of packing a little district, packing to CQ, and they're calling CQs that I don't understand that 900 every 2 weeks is the days of my life. As I strive for better days, better ways to strive for a better Tupac that pays. As I fight through the days that those that they didn't pay, but I still managed to say, hey, McGregor, we can do it again. And for the rain, for the pain of those that I couldn't understand that for those fight that they say it's more than money, more than the lane itself. As I go through the 10 and say, here it is, down Delmore where I live for the reason to be. As those possess, my wife is pregnancy through the hardline district of the rain, and I can rap a cappella and back and more. But I can tell you in the lane of education story and the story mode of MBA and MBA itself. 10 years in business and 10 years in listis and 10 years of those that I didn't understand the fight. Because the fight is hard. The night is hard. As those that they didn't understand my fight. My fight was for the people to understand I'm the best. It's not the fight of money. Money, if I fight for money, then I be Money Mayweather. Because the lane of mine is education to martial art itself. As I explain myself where my money is, because my money is in education. As those that complain through my education of Barack Obama and George Bush that came through the days of our life, and those that couldn't understand the ways of my life. I can speak more of my life and down the lane of my life, and I can walk down the lane of the game. Because the game really say Snoop Dogg is the crow. But I say the Snoop Dogg didn't really read the crow, because the crow didn't peck on Snoop Dogg, but Ronald Reagan's soul. As the story told that of the crow pecking itself, because they can try to be the crow to my neck. But if you read the crow, it don't really bother you that these crow peck more of your daily lives. Because as I strive more down the lane of remaining the past, but the past is the gas of life, and the past is the gas of life as I move forward toward civilization and civilization itself. As I born from rural state, as I move toward the lane of cars and the cars of Moses and car of Moses, and I say, Jesus Christ, Did you learn a little bit about Abraham or church and the hurts of those that you didn't really understand the birth of most? Because I walked through the church and I couldn't understand where could I pay my sin and my grin of life and shooting somebody in the back with a knife. Because as I learned through the life of term and our answer that drive down answer row and whereas Ladera and Montgomery at Montano. Montano and they say I was a vato. They say I was a chicken. They say I was a chink. Now they say I was Vietlis. Because Vietlis, somehow I didn't write less because I didn't know how to write mess. Because the stress of my life, and I can rap this way, I can tap this way down the lane of story and story of the taming my life of tomorrow. As I watch a little Snoop Dogg, as I watch a little Ice Cube, as I watch a little Stupid Young from Long Beach, it's a compilation of all of the above. But if you didn't take your SATs, how can you be SA me? Because SA me's and down the lane of mean green that there's it really that say you can rap me more than the thing because I can rap, I can tap, I can perhaps dance like Savak. Because those that I understand, because the remainder of my life that I can go back to New Mexico on the 40, that I can remain safe. Is that way I'm getting old, or is that the way of looking at old? Because these guys are not making us safe. But they won't fight me in a way that I walk down the lane of Nike lane. Is it the way that I put myself in education to collect education dollar instead of American dollar from Americans itself? Because in my term, when they came to my countries and they say, hey, Tuần, would you want to come to America for education or money? A lot of time I say, I wouldn't come to America for money because I want to come to America to learn how to write and read and write and read and night and time and night and day. Because those I understand that a lot of misconception of Vietnamese that come to America for livelihood of money of Rachel Ray. Because they didn't ask me to come back to Vietnam with education, but more of a mastering of education, But surprisingly, I graduated in martial art master last year. And it's approved by Donnie Yen and Donnie Yen himself that I could learn a little bit from Donnie Yen and Jet Li, and somehow they didn't really know that I can do the same thing in Vietnam. Because I'm in the land of Joshua and I read a little Bible, and somehow Jesus didn't like Joshua. They both son of Jacob itself, and I can't comprehend a little bit of church reality to those that understand that Benedict is no longer on the top and Francis is the back throes of Jesus Christ. Because where I come from, LA is the base of my life. Is it because I have this LA, you can conjugate that I'm killing somebody and I'm dealing drugs to somebody and I'm cap peeling to your mama and itself because I'm just trying to recite a little crow. Because crow pecks, and those that I didn't understand that you didn't understand that I was growing up in Vietnam's and say pecking of the crow that couldn't make the days of Simi Valley itself. As I travel down Collins Road, and Collins Road's where Pecos Road used to be. Because the reason that I can't understand the comprehend of the reason that he is chirping me. Chirping and holding 9 millis, that really 9 milli, that the chili. Because where I come from, the communists really hold more than the AKs, but your life in the balance. The balance of self of crow pecking is those that would I be more scared of you than the calmness with an AK in your house? Because my dirty mouth really represent something else. As far as those that I can understand the telltale sign of the telltale back, the back of those that they say, don't bring money home, boys. Bring some education, bring some noise, bring some friends, bring some attitude of American tourism. Back home, where they really see me as a garden gnome. Because I'm a fixture in a Vietnamese society that they understand that I only bring home education. But this time, I bring home martial art to the land of martial art. Listen. Because now I have graduated into Hapkido, Bushido, and somehow they can't complicate that. I'm still shooting somebody in the eye. And the desire need to rise to the top, and the desire need to rise to the bottom, or the rise to the bottom of the drain. Say the pain of mine is a stripper game. Remember the name, remember the pain. I can do a cappella for 30 minutes. Where I remain is that remain of the crow. I still remember the education mode of education. Say, what is your title, man? Is your title lights out, or your title mic out, or your title frightened mode? If you listen this long, if you listen this strong, and you listen to Prong of Charlemagne, and I say I do a little YouTube, and they say I'm not even gangster. I could never conjugate gangster because where I come from, there's no more gangster than education with a heart, a mind of man, and man of mice, and death of the salesman, the outsider, and the Jurassic Park of the sun rising. May I name a little book that Comic Con? Do you know Batman was Batman, and didn't you know Ethan Lane was Ethan Hawke, and Ethan Hawke didn't really know Ethan Buck? Time of those that I can't say Beethoven didn't really sing a little things because these guys say they can play better than Beethoven game.